Hey, hey, good people. I am back. It is Thursday, June 16th, 2022. This is Jody of Fervor Voice. I am recording or about to get started recording for BF. And BF is just a little acronym I came up with that stands for beneficial friend. We're not doing BFF, best friend forever. I'm never going to claim anything forever. I think everything changes, always, all the time. So, yeah, settle for BF. We're outside here and it is so hot. I don't even hear birds. Do the birds? I don't hear anything but two dogs fighting. I don't know how this happens. Okay, thank you. Here's a bird that showed up. All right, y'all. Let's get started. Let's go ahead and do our work. Let's go. Hey, hey, good people. I am back. Still on 10. I'm still on 10. Yeah, from last week. Anyway, I wanted to get started with this right off the bat, BF. And generally we think, BFF, but this is BF. So it's a little different, rooted in the same, but it's a little bit different. So last week, I got a call, a text from my nephew, and he wanted to come by and he wanted to, just chat it up. And I was happy about that because I get to see my nephews and, here and there. I don't get to see them on a regular basis. They're adults. They're doing their own thing. They're working, they're providing, they're doing all of those things. So naturally, when he reached out and said, hey, I want to come by, it was like, come through. You don't need to call, come through. I'm good with that. So we spent a lot of time. We spent a lot of good time talking just about things that we hadn't really talked about before. I mean, after he lost his cousin, after I lost my son, and, his cousin was his twin. They looked just alike. And as I looked at my nephew when, throughout the conversation, my husband and I both, just looking at him, they look so much alike. It's almost scary. They were twins to me. They were like brothers. And he talked about things that they shared and things that were really special to him. And it was beyond a best friend because, best friend is kind of, just whoever you're closest to. But for me, the BF, that's a beneficial friend. That's more than a best friend forever. I don't really deal with that term. Really, best friend forever. Who knows what the future holds? But to benefit someone, to help to build someone, and I guess it could be a beneficial friend. It could be a building friend. Now that I think about it, but. He talked to me about things that we hadn't talked about regarding his twin, regarding his cousin. And I was so happy when CJ came over and we talked, and it just felt good. So I knew I had to just kind of touch on this and how important and how significant our friends are to us. And those that are beneficial. I'm just speaking in terms of beneficial friends because those are the ones that help us grow. Those are the ones that may not be there every second, that may not be there every single day, but what they bring to us in love and just understanding and just that connection, almost that unspoken word, what they bring to us is something that we can't replace. It's something that'll be there with us truly, truly forever, regardless of our path, regardless of our journey. So when CJ came over and we talked, I just thought about some things and I was like, my goodness, those kinds of things that you're recalling, that you remember, and now he's gone from this earth. Now he's transitioned. These are things that you don't have the opportunity to do again. But they're things that are there and are so significant, so important in the process. When I think about it, I think about my own friends and those that have come and gone, and how significant our relationships and our inactions are, within these relationships. And I couldn't help but say, yeah, this has got to be something that I touch on, because I just can't leave it. There are certain things that I experience that I say, yeah, I'm gonna have to touch on that, because it's just too big. It's too important to just leave behind. And there were some things that I wanted my nephew to, just look at, and maybe to have, So told him where his suitcase was, and got the suitcase out, opened up the suitcase, and I was watching him, and you could just see this just rush of energy come through him. And beside the rush of energy, it was just like his scent came out of there, I washed all the clothes, folded them, and, put them away, because I just didn't want them. I didn't want to keep looking at them at the time. It was, very new at the time. I washed them and folded them and held on to them for, probably about a week, and then packed them up. So that thing just kind of rushed through him, just the emotions, that connection that they had, just everything that they shared in their short lives together. And it did something to me. It really and truly did. Not in a negative way, but just made me think about how important the relationships in our lives are. And the things that he spoke about his twin, about my son, every time I hear a story, it just makes me more and more proud of him and the impact that he had on people and on their lives. And I just want to focus on that. So I'm going to let my nephew go. And that's what he brought to me, and that's what is on me to go ahead and deliver and to release to everybody else. So thank you, nephew. Thank you, CJ, for coming and chatting it up with your auntie and your uncle, and giving me something to put out there that I know is going to resonate with everybody who listens. So I just wanted to say that last week I was like, and not even last week, this week, still right now, I had that podcast on 10. And I was on 10 because of a decision that I made, and a decision that I made that I didn't know I was going to make, like at that time. It was just there. It just literally happened. And when we make these decisions and we feel this euphoria and we feel incredible about it, because it's just like, I did it. I did that. I don't have to explain that, but I did that, and I feel good about that. When we share, we tend to share with those who we feel, right, our BFs, beneficial friends, that we feel they are. And I did that. But I will say that this experience did help me to understand where I fit and where I don't fit. Because there were two relationships in particular that I found out I wasn't a BF, number one. I was not. Then there was another relationship that I realized that person is not a BF for me at this point. Now, there was a time when they were, but right now, not so much. Doesn't make them any less of, any less significant in my life. Just right now, it's not really what I need. And I just want to say that I know I keep saying, I just want to say, I don't know. I guess that's just a normal phrase for me. But I will say that in terms of a BF, and when you're not a BF, I have to put that out. I have a friend that really, I wasn't being a friend, and I knew why, but I didn't address it. I never addressed it, and it has been going on for a few weeks now, probably about a month. And I never addressed it. And I kept saying to myself, I need to say something. I need to do something, but I don't want them to take it wrong. And I was just running from it. And finally, I get a text. This friend called out what I wasn't calling out. And I had to admit it. Like, I had to say, yeah, you're right. You are right. And I had to tell her, thank you. Thank you for doing what I didn't do. Thank you for doing what I didn't, or thank you for saying what I didn't say. Yeah, because you're right. You are right. And this relationship kind of had to move to a different space because of me and what I wasn't doing. It's important for us to all recognize when we do and when we don't put in. Also, to recognize and think about why. It's not a bad thing that you're not putting into certain relationships. Figure out why. I already knew why I wasn't putting into that relationship. And I really didn't explain it to this individual because it just would have created too much of a problem. I was considering this person's mindset and this person's vulnerability. And I felt like, it just didn't need to be discussed. That's the decision that I made. This person could disagree or agree. That's fine, but it's the decision that I made. So with that relationship, yes, it's clear. It needs to be put somewhere else. And I have to accept that. I have to accept who I wasn't being. And that's just the truth about it. When I think about the other friendship, that friendship that I had to put in another place because that person really for me wasn't being that BF that I needed. Let me just give you the whole picture. So I had my 10-day, my on 10 day, and I reached out. And I reached out in a text, and the exclamation points and everything. I did it. I'm on 10. Send this text out. And then I get a response. And the response is flat. I'm on a conference call. Call you later. And that was it. Like, I was like, ooh, oh, okay. I was too into what was going on and too happy about it to even recognize really and truly what that meant. So text messages have a way of just kind of expressing something that's not there. But I'm a firm believer that everything happens the way it's supposed to be. Never perfectly, but yeah, it happens the way it's supposed to. So I didn't pay much attention to it because I know, busy, working, all that other good stuff. Okay, no problem. So I'll explain that when they call back. So I'm still reaching out to people, did it? Because I'm on 10. Like I said, I'm on 10. And I'm on 10, everybody else isn't. Everybody else is going on about their day. This is a weekday. Everybody else ain't doing what I'm doing. And I get that. But after I got the opportunity to talk to this person, like I was on my way to go eat with a couple of friends. I was on my way to go out to eat with them. And then we have this conversation and I explain it and I'm excited. I'm giving all the details and how the day started. I had this bounce and this pep going on and everything. And and then I did it. And the first response I get, who does that? Who does that? It was like, damn, wait, what? And that was the first response. Who does that? Okay. I didn't know that's the response that I was going to get because I have felt that for years. I have been trying to push a square peg into a round space. I've felt like for years I've been doing that. So I'm excited and proud of this, but when I explain it, who does that? Now, I'm not going to go into the whole conversation because it's not worth my time. It doesn't even matter. Just like I was saying about the other friend, it doesn't even matter why I was doing what I was doing or wasn't doing. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. It's not there. Same thing with this conversation. All of what was said after that It's, yeah, not even necessary, and it's not worth my time. I'm not going to entertain it. But I will say that once I made it to the restaurant, I did get off the phone and just, yeah, I'm headed in to a restaurant to eat with some friends. So I'm just gonna go on in there and I'm gonna do that. And I left that conversation there. I was not even going to begin to address that because there's too many things going on with it. Went into the restaurant. Friends came a few minutes later. We sat down. We had a beautiful dinner. And that was it. Went home. I'm still on 10 though. Go home and everything. And I started to reflect. I started to think about, who does that? And I'm just for sake of, just for, no names, right? Other than positive vibes, other than good vibes, no names. So I'm just going to call this person who does that because you can reference that. So I think about the words of who does that. And I think about the words of the friend that I had just eaten with. So I'm going to say Rachel's name. So I think about what Rachel said when I said to her, yeah, I resigned. I'm doing Fervor. I'm going to build Fervor and I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. She stopped me mid-sentence. Girl, you going to do it. It's going to be great. I'm already claiming it for you. Girl, please. Girl, please. Hey, do you. Do it. Then I think about who does that. So we have the, opposite going on here. But I have to remember and I have to think about that. We all respond based on who we are, where we are in our life, what we got going on. That's how we respond. And if I get one person that responds to me with who does that and another person that responds with a yes and a go and positive reinforcement, they're still both my friends. But one of them is in a different space. And I don't fault that person for being in a different space. But I am going to say that there's a different place for that person to be. And I just want to start kind of digging in on a BF or a beneficial friend. That's what I want to start digging in on. Because it's one thing to say, compliment and say, hey, good, go for it. Go for that. And it's another thing not to do that. You're not against a person if you don't respond in a way. For me, I have to say it, you sound against yourself. Because that's not me. We all respond in ways that tell what's on the inside. That's how we respond. I'm not that person that, that's just, she's just going through something, or and just dismiss it. No, I think there's something there. I do. But it's not for me to figure out. I'm not going to dismiss it, but I do want to put it in its proper place. And putting it in its proper place is putting that person in their proper place in my audience. If you remember a few episodes back, I talked about the audience and, where people are. And it's not that I'm putting that person there. That's where they want to be. If that's what you have to say about something I'm really excited about, that's where you want to be. And that's cool. That's all good. But I also want to talk about what it's like to be a BF, or what is a BF. It's a friend that can see. They can see what you're talking about. They can see what you mean when you express something that you want. You express something that you're excited about. They can see that. They can see those things because they connect with you. They get you. And they can separate whatever is going on in their life, at work, or whatever, and be in the moment. Be in the moment with you while you talk, while you explain, while you express. A BF can do that. That's what they do. And the whole time while I'm reflecting and thinking about some things, I can't help but to reflect on, I I know that such and such does this and does that, but they don't do this. Again, not a bad friend, just somebody that wants to be somewhere else. And I can give you that. I can give you that quickly, easily. Friends or BFs also, they reciprocate. They reciprocate. I have this friend that, and I have so many friends that I can honestly say are BFs. So many. I can't even name them all. I can't. I'm serious. But I will say that this friend reciprocates in ways that are not tit for tat. It's not keeping score. It's nothing like that. It's just, Joe, I saw you this, she calls me Joe. I saw this. This looks just like you. I had to pick it up. Or, Joe, this was so funny. Send me a video or send me a clip, something like that. Or just stop by. Or just say, I was headed such and such, and I know you like going there. I know you like that. You want me to come by and pick you up? Things like that. And we reciprocate that. I might come by. She might come by. I might have something that I know she likes. She might have something that, it just goes back and forth with the two of us. And we continuously pour into each other. And it's not always about gifting. It's not that. It's from the heart. It's from heart, soul, spirit. We continuously reciprocate with that. We give back and forth to each other. A BF can add to your vision even. A BF will make themselves better while you make yourself better through what the two of you share. Or could even be more than two. But just to keep it simple, I'm just talking about this one individual. I'm just talking about that. So you make your vision and you talk about it. And somehow you're inspired by the conversation that you have with this person. And somehow they're inspired also. And you make each other better. This has nothing to do with anyone in particular, but I am going to say, if you have had the same friends for decades and you still doing the same things that you were doing 10, 15, 20 years ago, you're not growing from each other. That's not a BF. You're not growing from each other. Your visions are not those that require more of yourself, more of that other person. BFs grow each other. They absolutely add to each other. They share their gains. They've seen things that help the other one to grow. This was in March because it was my birthday. And I'm going to go ahead and mention her name because, again, all positive vibes, good vibes. I don't mind dropping a name. Only certain people don't like that. But, hey, I'm going to go out on a limb. So it was my birthday. It's March. And Gentry said, Joe, I'm going to take you to see Black Violin. I'm like, Now, in my mind, okay, so, this is just it's a black violin. Okay, so we're going to go see this violinist play on this black violin. Okay, I'll do it because it's Gentry. I'll do it. But in my mind, I have to sit here and watch somebody play a black violin. Now, let me just say, it kind of brings up stuff from childhood where I had to go to the orchestra on field trips, and I couldn't stand that. I did not like it. That was not my thing. I had not developed any taste whatsoever for that type of music. And I even remember my daughter being that way. I remember her teacher being upset because she didn't want to go to the orchestra. She wanted to stay at the school. I said, well, she doesn't have to. She doesn't like it. I didn't like it, So for me, But for Gentry, for, just The mere fact that there was some kind of an adventure going on with this woman. Okay, I'll go ahead and go. I'll go. When I tell you, I've never been so impressed with anything orchestra-like. I'm telling you, it was incredible. So my mindset, in my mind, in the back of my mind, somebody playing a black violin. No, these were black men with violins who had put their own twist on classical music. And listen, this was a straight up concert. I was into it. Loved it. But that's how that growth thing happens with somebody that you trust, somebody that you love. That's how that growth happens. There is no way in the world I would have gone to see anything called black violin merely because it had violin in it. Can't be anything I want to be bothered with. Can't be. And I played the violin when I was a kid. So, I don't know why I felt that way. I don't know. I can't explain it. But I know now there's a black violin playlist on my phone and I listen to it regularly. That's where that growth comes in. That's exactly where it comes in. I can also, from the opposite side, I can also say that when I started my podcast, I started it and I was talking about it. And Gentry is not one for a whole lot of technology. She doesn't like fooling with a whole lot of that stuff. But because of how she feels about me, and because she believes in me, and because she knows what my vision is, and because we've talked about it, she said, I'm going to figure this out. Now, she didn't want to tell me that she didn't know what to do. But she sat down and she figured that thing out and downloaded the app and did the Spotify thing. She did all of that. And she listened. And she listened with a closed mouth, open heart, just like she always does when we're in person. And after she listened, she called me and she talked to me about it. And she expressed how she felt about that first episode. She absolutely expressed how she felt. And I appreciated that. And she also appreciated the fact that she did something with technology that she didn't even think she would know how to do. Like, technology is like the boogeyman for her. But she did it. And now that whole thing is grown. She's not afraid. She doesn't fear that technology piece. She doesn't fear it anymore. She's with that. She's about it now. She's about that technology now. And I appreciate that. I appreciate her trusting me. And I appreciate her stepping out on a limb. Most of us would probably say, oh, but we've been doing that. No, not everybody. Not everybody. Because I'm not a huge fan of technology. Social media, I still haven't kicked up my game on that. I still haven't. But I know that I have to, especially now. I realize that, and I'm going to do it. BFs have a certain level of honesty. And they're authentic. They hold themselves to high expectations, and they hold you to high expectations too. Like I said, Gentry listened to that first episode. And she said something, Joe, now I'm going to tell you. That's what she said. But I knew that she was speaking from the heart. And I knew that she was being honest with me. She didn't interrogate me about it. She didn't grill me about it. None of that. Because she knew that podcast, she knew that episode, and she knows that my podcast is based on me, how I feel, my journey, my growth. She knows that, and she respected that. And when she gave me her opinion about certain things, she did it in a way that was authentic. She was holding me to that expectation. She also held herself to an expectation because she ended up going through a process of her own where it was just like, well, let me look at some things too. That's what a BF will do. That's what a BF does. It's more than just we hanging out. No, it's so much more than that. There are so many layers to that BF relationship that I think about. A BF can provide a space for non-judgmental conversation. They don't have to agree. They don't have to agree with everything you say. They don't have to agree with anything that you say. But that non-judgmental space. And you say, okay, so tell me what you mean by. Okay, so how did that make you feel when? And as I'm going through this and as I'm discussing this and talking about this on this episode, I'm saying to myself, and I'm laughing about it, it's crazy. Who does that? I can't do anything but laugh about that right now because it's just like, who does that? Like, who says that? Who says who does that after having shared something like that? I can't do anything but laugh at this point. But anyway, the non-judgmental part, that's what I'm talking about. So if you don't agree, or if she didn't agree with me saying, hey, I just did this thing called resigning. I just did it. If she didn't agree, she still would have said, all right, Joe. All right, so what are we doing here? That's that non-judgmental space that a BF provides for you and allows you to say what needs to be said, feel what you need to feel. And still, whether that person agrees or not, gives you that space for your thoughts and for your feelings. Gives you that space. It's a given. It's a given. That's why I don't fear, or that's why I'm not concerned when I need to talk to her about something. I'm not concerned about that because I know I'm getting my non-judgmental space from her. I know I'm getting it. I already know that's what she's going to do. Now, don't get me wrong. She'll still hold me accountable. And I think that's important too. You have to have an accountability circle, like an accountability loop. Because if you don't, you can go off on tangents with certain things, but you need somebody to pull you back in. And I'm hoping that you have a web of BFs so that you can go through these layers so that folks can hold you accountable, folks that love you, folks that are careful, that are patient with you, folks that can consider the losses that a person has had and why they respond the way they respond and why they do the things that they do. Because she understands, yes, she lost BJ. And she understands this woman is still going. And she understands she's got to do what's in her mind, body, and spirit to do. Who does that? I'm just saying. Who does that? Anyway, given that, let me stop jumping on that. But also, a BF has that certain level of intuition that's just unexplainable. Where it's just like, I don't need to say that I'm hurting. I don't need to say that something is off. I can call. I get on the phone and call G, and she knows. G, she just knows. Whatever tone that I use, she already knows. Okay. What's going on? That's that BF thing going on. Because they can hear it in your voice. They can feel it. Those are the folks, those are the ones that you have to keep in your loop. They got to be in your space. Do they have to be there every single day? No, because everybody's got their own life. Everybody's got their own things. Everybody's got their own stuff. But the BFFs, or the BFs, not the BFFs, but the BFs are the ones that make the difference. Those are the ones that help you through. Those are the ones that give you what you need. And when I think about my nephew and when I think about my son and the relationship that they had, whether it was close or not, it was felt. And what we discussed, I knew that it was felt. How he responded when he opened that suitcase, I knew it was felt. How he responded when the scent of my son hit his face, I knew it was felt. It can't be explained, but it's felt where that BF thing comes in. That's that connection. That's that connection where the heartache can be shared, where the conversations are literally say whatever you got to say, where the emotion will even kick in. I was just out with Gentry last night, and there were things that I talked about in my life, and her eyes just locked in on me because she knew. She knew that I was about to explain something that I was feeling that was important and that was heartfelt. And it was just something that just happened to come up just because we were talking about music. And I talked about someone in my life and their connection with their significant other and how they connected in a way that no one understood. And we just so happened to have a conversation about it. And after we had that conversation, it was like, whoa, I didn't even realize that, wow, I didn't even realize that she had lost that person. She lost that person right after I lost BJ. And the relationship that they had literally was a relationship that could not be explained. It could only be felt. It could only be felt. Those are BFs. You need them in your life. And they are so important. Almost as important as it is for you to understand where your friends, your BFs, your whatever else. I don't know, because there can even be work friends, or there can even be a WF. I don't know. There could be all kinds of friends. But it's so important to make sure that they're in the right place for your growth, for your journey, for your path, and for their growth and their journey and their path. I just expressed two people that had to be put in a different place. And even myself, I'm probably put out. I don't know. That depends on how that person is feeling. And you have to accept that and be okay with it. I'm okay with who does that. I'm laughing at it now because it's just, who does that? But at the end of the day, when I think about this and I think about relationships and friendships, how important they are, how significant they are, we have to put them in their proper space. We have to make sure that they're in a space that can allow us to grow, allow us to be better, and allow us to be everything we were sent here to be. Everything. Always remember that you are your own ecosystem. You possess within yourself everything you need to be successful, to be valuable. You don't need anything else because you already possess it. The tricky part is finding it, because we all have and we all possess our own skills and our own talents, and how we branch those talents and skills out to make our lives what they should be. That in itself is a whole journey. But if you can remember, and if you can stay true to the fact that, yes, you are enough. You are enough. You already qualified to do whatever it is that is within you to be done. You already qualified. You don't need anything more than you. As long as you can recognize that and accept that and do with it what needs to be done with it, you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. But these BFs help you get there. They are the significant part. They are the significant role within your life that will help you get where you need to be. Keep them close. Park them in the front. That's where they belong. All the others that do all these other things or whatever that have kind of led you in some different directions that have nothing to do with who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do, put them in their right place too. Put them in their right place too. Still love them. Still reach out to them. Do all of those things. But put them BFs up front. excuse me, did I say them? Put those BFs up front. That's where they need to be. That's where they deserve to be. I have friends and family members that I truly love, love, love. And as I interact with them, things come into my head, and there are things that say to me, that is a significant issue. And this particular one was. So as I move along and as I get to these episodes where it's like, this is really significant, this is what I want to focus on, I like to dedicate episodes to certain individuals. And this episode I want to dedicate to Gendry, because she has been my BF. Even when I didn't know it. Even when I didn't know it. And she's not the only one. Don't get me wrong, but for this particular episode, I need to dedicate it to her. And I appreciate her. I love you, G. I'm going, y'all. Have a good one. Hey, good people, back for the recap. So, recapping what we just talked about today, or what I talked about today, make sure that your relationships are in the proper order. Take responsibility for your friendships, relationships, whatever else it is that you would like to call them. It's about your life. It's about what you need to do to make yourself happy, what you need to do to be on 10. I want everybody on 10. It doesn't have to be doing something opposite of what you do now. It's whatever it is that you want, whoever it is you want to be. Make that the goal. Get yourself to that 10, whatever that could be. Who does that? I'll tell you who does that. Somebody that ain't scared. That's who does that. Let me make it plain and simple. I don't even know if this person will ever listen to the podcast, because, they don't listen anyway, which is further underscoring the who does that situation. Don't listen to people who say things like, who does that? More than likely, they're not in tune with what you're doing anyway. So stay aligned with those who are. Love yourself. Love everything about yourself. Do you. Live your life. Just be happy, y'all. I'll see you soon. Look forward to it. Reach out to me with any comments, any questions that you may have on Facebook. You can catch me on my website. Yeah, still building that, still updating that. But anyway, I'm out there. I look forward to hearing from y'all. See you soon. Bye.